Good morning, Willow School. This morning, members of the Ethics Bowl team, Julia, Elodie, and Piper, are going to share with you how the virtues and other ideas can help us when we need to make difficult decisions.
Hi Willow School, today I'm going to be doing some breathing exercises with you. Hi Willow School, and today I'm going to be talking about the virtue perseverance. And here's my presentation. So I would define perseverance as sticking with something even though you don't like it or feel like sticking with it. Perseverance also means to power through something and keep going in the face of adversity or challenge. It also means to overcome barriers and obstacles and to work hard. Once you have perseverance, you are achieving something despite failure or difficulties. Perseverance is not giving up when people doubt you or when you have an obstacle telling you to stop and give up. Perseverance is not letting other people determine the kind of person you are or how you react. This framework helps me to address a public issue by helping me to keep going and not give up. One public issue that has been drawn to my attention is shark finning and the problems that occur with this devastating issue. I've been trying to raise awareness about it by telling family members and friends, donating money to help save and protect sharks, and more. Perseverance also helps me to know that other people have struggles too, to think about others. Perseverance helps me to keep going when I wanted to give up helping sharks because no one would help or cared because people have such bad views of sharks. Perseverance is such a strong framework because it teaches people to keep going in the face of struggles or difficulties. COVID definitely posed some struggles with helping sharks, but I have learned to power right through difficulties and not let anything stop me. Who knows, maybe one day all my contributions will help make a difference. A historical character that exemplifies perseverance is Alexander Hamilton. He had many great accomplishments in his life, including serving as the first American Secretary of the Treasury. After the Revolutionary War, he went back to New York and started studying law. Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison were going to write a total of 25 essays defending the new U.S. Constitution. The work was split evenly between the three of them. In 6 months, they wrote a total of 85 essays. John Jay wrote 5 and got sick. Madison wrote 29, and the other 51 were written by Hamilton. Hamilton has helped to establish the U.S. Coast Guard and founded the first U.S. political party. His dad also left him when he was young, and his mom died when he was 12, and he's also on the $10 bill, so he exemplifies perseverance. Exemplified.
Hi Willow School, I'm Julia and I'm going to be talking about a framework that I use to help me. So, Kant's theory focuses on the opposite of the idea that the rightness of an action is the function of how fruitful the outcome is. Kant's theory promotes the idea that the motive and not the consequence of an action determines its moral value and if it's ethical or not. This framework guides my decisions because it shows me how the intent is more powerful than the outcome. This guides my decisions in everyday life because it teaches me that my intent is more important and it will determine the action's moral value. It shows me that if I'm doing something wrong, even if it does not affect others, it can still be unethical. I am focusing on the moral and virtue aspect of Kant's theory. This framework has helped me to make ethical decisions with the ethics team because it's helped us base a lot of our decisions off motives and less of outcomes while incorporating the virtues. This framework teaches that motives are just as strong as the outcomes, and that can be good or bad. And I'm going to give you some examples to help you understand. So as we see in this image, there's a young lady on Zoom, and it looks like she's taking a test. But you can see she has many books open and other devices, and she's clearly cheating. And she might be thinking it's not hurting anyone, so it's not unethical, but it is. Her motive of cheating is what makes it wrong, and her motive of trying to get away with it. And even if she doesn't think it will affect others, it probably will, because the teacher could even grade it off of a curve since she has done the best. So even if it doesn't affect others, she thinks it still can be in it. That's why it's unethical. Our next example is in this photo, and we can see this young lady trying to return money to this elder lady, which is ethical. However, we can clearly see that the money is coming from the older person. And if the older person declines and says it's not theirs, is it ethical to keep it? By offering and trying your best to make them take it, that is ethical. And even she could have clearly gotten away with it, but she chose to try to be persistent and her motive of trying to give it back and do the right thing is what matters in this example. And our last example is with a man, and let's say someone organizes a food drive. And after all of his hard work, he realized that a lot of what he collected was perishable, so the food bank could not take it. And he might think that all of his work was unethical and useless because some of it wasn't able to be used. But no, his motive of helping others is what's important and not the consequence. Even if he was not able to give all the goods away, he tried, and his motive and means is what makes it valuable and still ethical. And this is an example of Kant's theory being displayed in our world. So Ivan Fernandez Anania was competing in a cross-country race in Spain. He was running second, distance behind the leader, Abel Mutai. And as they entered near the finish line, he saw the Kenyan runner. He was definitely clearly going to win the race, mistakenly pull up 10 meters before the finish line, thinking that he had already crossed the line and won. See, now Ivan Anania could have taken this moment to pass him and win, but that would have not been ethical. He could have easily won, but his motive was knowing that it wouldn't be fair and that it wouldn't even really count as a victory for himself. So, as you can see in this photo, he stops and he tells him that he has to go ahead, and he lets Abel Mutai win because he was the winner. And even though the outcome of the race wasn't in Ivan winning, he did the right thing, and he knows that any other way how the race would have ended would have not been ethical. So thank you for watching, and try to demonstrate and incorporate this framework into your lives while making decisions. Thank you. Now I'm going to hand it off to Elodie, who will be talking about the framework for you.
The value of responsibility. Responsibility can mean several things, such as having a duty to something, holding people and yourself accountable, and acting independently without prompting. It has helped me in my personal life and for the ethical dilemmas we practice on. How responsibility has helped me personally. Responsibility has helped build relationships with my family and friends. For example, if I do something wrong, I should take responsibility for it instead of just waiting for someone to find out or lying and saying that I didn't do anything, which results in a better outcome in the long term and builds trust. Also, if there is a task that needs to be done or chore, then doing it is taking personal responsibility. This also helps my relationships with family because it shows that I will do things without being prompted. Doing something without being asked or forced to do is taking personal responsibility. How responsibility has helped me in ethics. Responsibility has also been one of the most commonly used virtues for the ethical dilemmas that we worked on. It can be used to show commitments and obligations that can influence decisions for the people involved. For example, in the dilemma Ethics Bowl versus Prom, we said that because the team had practiced and worked together, Jake had an obligation to go to the ethics bowl. Another example of responsibility being used for a case is with missing serial number. We said that Cora has a responsibility to report her bike if she thinks it is stolen and should not deflect or blame anyone else, and reporting it is taking personal responsibility. These are a few ways this virtue has helped us. In this photo, the girl is showing personal responsibility because she is doing a chore on her own. This fulfills a responsibility to help her parents. It also demonstrates responsibility because she did it without being told. The child in this photo is showing responsibility by watering his plants. He's showing responsibility because he has an obligation to water them since they're his. It is the boy's responsibility to take care of his plants, and he is fulfilling it. The characters in this photo are demonstrating personal responsibility by talking to their friends. This shows personal responsibility because they are holding themselves accountable for what they said. Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt is the historical figure I chose that I think exhibits responsibility. He did this in several ways. The first way I think that he did this is by having places where nature was protected by the government. It was his responsibility to protect the natural environment for the people in the country, and by establishing national parks and forests, he fulfilled it. Another way I think he fulfilled his responsibilities to the people was by having Congress pass the Food and Drug Act. This made sure that companies were being responsible with how they handled food. It was also another way he protected the people, because the law made sure that their food was safe. Another way he practiced responsibility was by holding people accountable. When there was a strike by coal miners, he held the company accountable for the working conditions, and the company agreed to compromise with the workers. This demonstrates responsibility because he held the company accountable for what they were doing.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.